done.
Wait, should we write the 2 sentences and then the complex?
No. You do not need to copy them and then rewrite it. All you're going to do is write a complex sentence. Okay? Okay. Yes. Yes, when you come back in, be real quiet. Okay? Okay. So, you are not diagramming. You are simply writing. You can go as soon as Caroline and the other.
Do we have to rewrite the sentences again?
No.
Should we, what do you call it? Label this stuff?
So punctuated the way you would think it should be punctuated. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to say this one more time. You are taking these sentences. You are taking these sentences and you're making complex sentences. Okay? So you are adding what type of conjunctions? What go with complex sentences? Subordinating conjunctions in order to join 2 simple sentences into 1 complex sentence. What? You're making the 2 sentences complex. You are making a complex sentence out of 2 sentences.
Do we have to do the subject verb thing?
No, you are writing a complex sentence out of 2 sentences. You're not diagramming. You're not doing subject verb. You can change them around. You can put the conjunction wherever you want. you guys, let's just real quickly, Jacob, could you tell me what is a subordinating conjunction? Yeah, so what does that stand for, WWHB? So you could have used any of those conjunctions, when, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. What are some other subordinating conjunctions that aren't in that acronym? Raise your hand, please. Okay, Ben?
Before.
Before. Jonathan, what's another one?
What?
A subordinating conjunction?
Oh,
Before or
after.
after? What else? Okay, yeah, you guys have a whole list of them under conjunctions. Before, after, Jacob? Until. Campbell? Than. Okay, though, even though.
When?
That's part of the WWH. So I want you guys, now these, even that is not all of the subordinating clauses, but I want you to get used to using them. And in your next writing assignment, we're really going to be focused on complex sentences. So, Sarah Rhodes, how did you combine these into a complex sentence?
I said, while the North Carolina Zoo is open, only few people visited.
Okay, while the North Carolina Zoo is open, only few people visited. How did you punctuate that?
Put commas.
Where'd you put a comma?
I put a comma after open.
Open. So if you have your dependent clause at the beginning, you put a comma after it. Did anybody do something different? Ben?
I just said although. Yeah, that's
Although, so although, though, and even though are all variations, okay? Lucy, did you do something different?
I did although, but I did in the second part of the sentence. I said the North Carolina Zoo is open, although only a few people visited.
Okay, good. So you could have moved it here. The North Carolina Zoo is open, although few people visit it. Where did you punctuate?
No, I didn't. I was waiting for the end sentence.
Awesome. Because it's at the dependent clauses at the end, we're not going to punctuate. Eliza Min?
I used while.
What?
While.
Use
Like
while?
while few-
Where did you put it?
I did, while few people visited, the North Carolina Zoo is still open.
Okay, good. While few people visited, the North Carolina Zoo is still open. Josh, why did that take 10 minutes?
Oh, there was like 5 people at the water fountain, and they were just talking.
Okay. We're gonna rethink this, you guys, because it's so disruptive, people coming in and out, and I know a lot of you were already here. Okay, while, Christian?
Since.
What? Since? How did you use it?
The North Carolina Zoo is open since few people visit it.
Okay, well, here's the thing that's hard. That's grammatically correct, but not logically correct. It's not open since few visit it. No, there's no since in this. There's no cause and effect, okay? But since is gonna be really important in these, okay? And that's the tricky part with subordinating conjunctions. No,
When the North Carolina Zoo opened, few people visited it.
when the North Carolina Zoo, so you'd have to actually change the meaning of the sentence. When the North Carolina Zoo opened, few people visited it, okay? Okay, let's look at this one. Kate, what did you write?
Since the sun is rising later in the morning, I wait until after breakfast to walk.
Okay, so there's that cause and effect. Since the sun is rising, what did you punctuate?
A comma after morning.
A comma after morning. Okay, anybody else besides since? Jonathan?
But, I'm not sure if he's right, but this, I wait until after breakfast to walk if the sun rises later.
Say the last part.
If the sun,
If the sun rises later. Okay, good. I wait until after breakfast to walk if the sun rises later. Okay, so you've got it at the back, in the middle of it. No punctuation. What?
There's
No comma. Yeah. Okay, Olivia?
Because the sun is rising later in the morning, I wait until.
So since, because can often be used interchangeably. So because the sun is rising later in the morning, comma, I wait until after breakfast to walk. Did anybody do anything different, especially doing a conjunction halfway in the sentence? Campbell?
I used while the sun is rising later in the morning while I wait until after breakfast to walk. It's a little wordy. Wait, what?
is rising later in the morning while I wait until after breakfast to walk. Yeah. I don't think that
Yeah.
fits. You're waiting while the sun is rising. I guess that would work, but you're right, it does sound a little bit awkward. Okay, any questions about that one? Okay, Logan, did you have a question about that one? Okay, Logan, what did you do for number 3?
Next month is the presidential election, so many people will.
Okay, what type of conjunction is so?
Oh, that's a fanboys.
So that makes this what kind of sentence? Use a fanboy. Is it simple, compound, or compound?
It's compound.
It's compound. Okay, that's really tricky, so I want you guys to pay attention. So, yeah, not so. We want to have a subordinating conjunction. Catherine?
I said many people will vote because next month is the presidential election.
Many people will vote because next month is the presidential election. No commas. That works. Val, is that what you have?
Yeah,
Wait, why should we learn for commas?
You put commas if the sentence opens with a dependent clause. So if we said, because next month is that what you're gonna say?
No, I used where in the center.
Okay, hold on just a second. If we had moved the because up here, because next month is the presidential election, comma, because it came at the beginning, many people will vote. Okay, and you used where. How did you do that?
I did next month is the presidential election where many people will vote.
Okay, good. No commas. Okay, anything else? Any questions about this? Okay, pretty straightforward. I want you to learn how to change, recognize that they're simple, compound, complex, and be able to change them. If you look on the board, you have 2 homework assignments, and one of them is to write 6 complex sentences on a piece of paper. No banned words. No get or got. No nice or mean. 6 different conjunctions. So you can't just write while or when. 6 different conjunctions. Okay, questions about that? You're going to have some time in class to work, hopefully. But I want to shift gears and I want to talk about your Latin myth, which I understand that you don't have the assignment from Mr. Smith yet, but it is forthcoming and I've talked to him and I know his guidelines. So I want to give you some more specific guidelines on how to come up with ideas. Does anybody have an idea already? You don't have to share it. But is anybody like, okay, I've thought about this, I've got this. Okay, for me, I'm not a creative writer. I think coming up with the idea is half the battle.
Yes.
So can you pass that to John? So what I want to do is give you some ideas, and then I want to show you the storyboard that I did, and you guys are going to have a storyboard that's due tomorrow. So, okay, you can basically do a creation myth, or you can do a story that has a message. So let's say that you're going to do a creation myth. Did you get, does everybody have this?
Do we have to do this? Do we have to basically?
No.
Okay.
Okay? So let me just go over the guidelines are that you have to write a Greek myth, and it does need to have a Greek character in it, a god or a goddess. It does have to have supernatural and needs to have a theme or a message. So those 3 things. So what I've done here is I'm giving you ideas. If Logan already has an idea, awesome. You are not restricted to this, but if you, like me, struggle sometimes to come up with ideas, maybe this will help you. So you look at something around you and you go, gosh, what would be a story involving a Greek or Roman god or goddess that would explain this? So why does the sun rise and set? Why do the leaves change colors? Why did Starbucks put a mermaid on its beverage cup? Why is the sky blue? Why is TikTok so popular? Why do snakes have no legs? Why do rabbits have no sound? Why do droughts happen? Why are people different skin tones? Why? Anything. Why? And you're just coming up with a story that explains that. Okay? So then we've talked about yesterday, you can transport a classic Greek god or goddess into the modern day and create a modern myth. Now, you cannot transport Percy Jackson because Rick Riordan already did that. Percy Jackson is his. But Poseidon, you can bring Poseidon into the present. You can bring Apollo. any Greek character. And we've got our major Greek characters, and then there's a whole list of minor Greek characters. Somebody asked me in class earlier, who is the god of time? And I was like, I don't know. So I Googled, oh, do you know?
Kronos.
Yes, then I was just about to say the same thing.
Well,
Man.
that, yes, but there's another one.
What?
There's another one.
Well, that's
It is your
what
H.
What?
It starts with an A, Aion.
That might-
Aion.
I have a question.
Okay?
I didn't know.
I don't know enough about Greek mythology to know the difference, but when I Googled it, that's what it said. Okay? Question.
Is there a well-known god of rice? No.
You guys are in the Google era, but I don't think rice was grown. There might have been a rice of the olive harvest or
I don't
something.
know why they wouldn't grow rice.
Yeah, rice is awesome. Yeah, I love rice.
Okay, so let's take rice. Let's say that a Greek god or goddess wants to discover a new food to present to Zeus to make him happy. So, how rice came to be. You can take anything and pull god or goddess in. Okay. So you can bring them into the modern day. You want to try to be true to their character. Athena is the goddess of war and wisdom. So you don't want to make her the goddess of the hearth. You want to be consistent with real mythology. You can take a Greek myth and turn it into a modern myth. I like this one because the plot's done for you. So instead of Pandora opening the box, it could be, I don't know, Harry opening up a Google file. Or Samantha pushing a button that leads to a nuclear warhead being launched. Like something that's some temptation, and there's a backstory, okay? Now, I really like this one because I can think of so many possibilities. Create a story of how a Greek god or goddess has caused a current event. So if you watched the presidential debates last week, wouldn't it be interesting to write a story of what if some Greek gods liked Trump and some liked Biden, and behind that horrific debate, there was some type of god drama going on that was causing them to be rude and belligerent. Okay? So you could do that. Or maybe, did they do anything to increase hurricane activity? Is Poseidon throwing a fit? Is he angry at somebody? Is that why we've got so many more hurricanes the last few years? Forest fires on the West Coast. Political conflict with the U.S., maybe explaining conflict between the U.S. and China or any country. This is interesting, explaining the spread of the COVID virus. What if a god was angry at mortals and wanted to afflict suffering on them and infected us with COVID? The closing of public schools, colleges, racial unrest protests, any of those. Just take a current event and assign like a god-goddess drama behind it, okay? And then the last one is write a spin-off of a Greek myth in which you create a new character or build on a minor character. So I don't know if Hercules has a brother, but let's say he has another brother who's really strong, and Hercules gets sick, and so his younger brother needs to hold up the world, but he's really clumsy and he keeps dropping it. Maybe that's what causes the earthquakes and the hurricanes. I don't know. But you can create a minor character, or maybe you can go into somebody that is a minor character and you can write something about them. So all this is just an idea list entailed to get you thinking. You're not limited to this. Does anybody have anything they want to add to this?
I just have a question, but I lost.
Okay. You have a question?
I gotta think about it again.
Okay, think about it. Okay, while you're thinking, let me show you a storyboard. So,
Somebody better write a Greek myth about how I should do that.
No.
okay, hey, you guys, can you listen to questions? Olivia, you've got a question? A what story? Okay, no. Like, oh, I mean, you can make, Disney has done Hercules, and Disney has done what other Greek gods, goddesses? Have they done anything else?
They done all the goddesses.
They only did Hercules.
They only did Hercules. Okay,
That's
so you want to try to avoid stealing from Rick Riordan or from Disney or anything else. You're trying to make this your own. Okay, so here's, go ahead.
Can you do analog in your
Can you do what?
analog?
I can't.
Dialogue?
Dialogue, like conversation? You can, yeah. So, and we're gonna talk about the role of conversation, okay? So, okay, this is what I did. And this took me about 10 minutes, okay? We brainstormed these and we're going over this. So, and I don't like creative writing and I'm not very good at Greek mythology. It just doesn't captivate me. So here's my story, modern day, 2000s. So I'm not being very specific. I could just say modern day. Where? It's gonna happen at Caldwell in a Latin class, upstairs. So it's Caldwell high school students. And my protagonist, I chose Athena because she's one I know. I didn't want to spend a lot of time researching character. This isn't history. But I know Athena's the goddess of war, goddess of wisdom. I know she has a sister, Aphrodite, who's the goddess of beauty, and sometimes they've started wars. So she's the antagonist, and then you need to have at least these two.
I can't see that.
Okay. Allies, I added those. Comics, mentors, those are optional. But I went ahead, do you have a question, Jacob? Okay. I went ahead and I added them in. Now I named mine, and I may change it later on. This is just my outline. Ben?
I didn't think Athena and Aphrodite were sisters.
They pretty much all are.
Oh,
They're all
They're all
are.
related.
They're all related then.
I thought they were, but Ben?
Those two are like.
Ben, my disclaimer, I don't know too much about Greek mythology. Mr. Smith is reading it more for the Greek content. I'm reading it for storyline. Okay, so here's my plot. So my, wait a second. Why is this
It's
not
on your
moving?
computer.
Oh, it's on my computer. Okay. So, my conflict is basically that Aphrodite wants to imprison Athena because she's their father's favorite. I think their father is Zeus. I don't know where I'm getting this. Now, so you need to have a conflict. This is so important. You can't just write about somebody that you like. Your rising action, we're going to do a whole day where we talk about the mountain of conflict. So I really just want one sentence under rising action. Athena hides in Caldwell. She disguises herself as a high school student. There's going to be more to it, but that's like just a summary of my rising action. And then what's the climax? So the worst that the story can get, the greatest suspense, Aphrodite shows up at Caldwell. She discovers Athena and is about to carry her off to Hades. Okay? So you're just going to have bullet points. I'm not grading you at all on your punctuation or your spelling, but I do want a complete idea. Okay, resolution. I don't know how this is going to happen, but the Caldwell students are going to rescue Athena. Somehow, they're going to interact with Aphrodite and cast her out and save Athena. Question? Okay. And then my theme, kind of what I'm thinking is like Athena is this great goddess, but nobody really knows her, and she's lonely, and it's hard being with arguing sisters. And so she's never really had friends, and she comes to Caldwell and she discovers friends for the first time. So the theme is friendship is of greater value than power. So her friends are able to fight off Aphrodite, and she isn't. Okay, so do you see? My idea is general. I don't have it nailed. But I do have some guidelines by which I could write a story. And I might go back and change some of this. But this is what I want from you guys tomorrow, okay? Questions about that? The only thing up here that I have that you don't need is you don't have to have allies. But everything else should be there. Joshua.
Are we getting this sheet?
Well, you know, I originally thought that you guys could just do this on a piece of notebook paper, but that class said they liked this template. So I went ahead and made you guys a template.
Oh, yeah.
If you get home and you can't find this, do it on a sheet of paper, just like you took the notes. Okay?
Is this due tomorrow?
This is due tomorrow. Caroline, your characters have to tie in with mythology. Okay, you guys, let me just answer Caroline's question for all of you.
Because I can like add in other guys, so like just become a little more person. Can I do that?
Okay, so you guys can add in non-mythological characters. So obviously, I've got Caldwell students, and then I've got a goddess. Now, what I am going to say is don't write your friends into this, because anytime I've seen somebody try to do that, it just becomes a mess of trying to like do something funny. Oh, and by the way, this is the biggest mistake people make. If you start writing your story trying to be funny, it's very hard to have a good storyline. Maybe it will be funny, because some of you have that. Okay, does that answer your question?
Can we just come up with like a non-existent person?
A non-existent Greek god.
Yeah.
That can also be your best friend.
No. I'm pretty sure, and I might have said otherwise yesterday, but Mr. Smith wants you to have at least one verifiable Greek or Roman god or goddess.
Just one.
Okay? At least one.
Wait, they can't be your friend?
Hmm?
You got
You said they can't be your best friend.
The god or goddess can be your friend.
Oh, okay.
You can't write your friends
No.
into it. Okay, Belle?
I don't know how I would like do what I want to do, because I want to do like the Trojan War, but it's Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B. I don't know how to like
Oh my god.
make them involved.
So make Cardi B Paris.
Well,
No.
and you guys, tomorrow when Mr. Smith gives you the assignment, would you ask him the content questions? Because I'm listening to you, and that would be based on a Greek myth, but you wouldn't have a Greek god or goddess.
You could use like one of the
So
gods
just
from
run
the
that.
Bible, right?
But I would have in mind, who is Cardi B representing? And who, like, you're going to have to adapt all of that. And remember, the Trojan War was really big, and so you need to have something that's going to fit within 2 to 4 pages. So maybe you could start write about the start of a war. Okay? Kate.
Does it have to include the god or goddess, or can it just include other characters from mythology?
Yes, other characters from mythology.
And not have
I
to
think
be-
that's okay. That's a Mr. Smith question, but I think that's okay. Okay, did you hear that? Can it include minor characters from Greek mythology, not just a god or goddess? Yes.
Wait, does it have to have a major one, or can the minor?
Does not have to have a major one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. How many of the Greek gods or how many of these people do you have to have?
Ask him that tomorrow, but I think just one. Hold on, let me pull this up.
Yes.
What?
Okay, it doesn't say. I think you just need to have one.
Olivia?
Okay.
Okay? I think just one. You're supposed to, through this, you are supposed to show that you've got an awareness of Greek mythology.
Miss Childers?
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do right now, you've got 10 minutes, right?
About 5. No, like, you know, 210.
You get out at 2:05
To 10. On
Yeah. 'Cause we
on
have to go to-
Tuesday.
Tuesday, right? 10 minutes. We got 210.
10.
That was 210.
Oh, that's so weird. It is 2:10. Okay, so you guys have 15 minutes. I don't think you've got time.
That one, I think that one. That one.
We don't get
I
a short
know.
stick on going
No.
outside.
I saw someone falling. I saw.
Are we
They
getting
did,
up?
they did, but I had more time with that. That was kind of my.
May I use the restroom?
You may. Okay, so you guys are working on that. You've got Latin myth, storyboard, you've got 6 complex sentences. So either one of those.